Hello and welcome back to Runway Talk, the podcast where fashion is never just clothes. It's a whole entire mood, a movement, and sometimes a meltdown. I'm Michael.
And I'm Linda. And people, I'm going to need you to sit down for this episode. Buckle up, put the kids to bed, pour yourself something fizzy, because the 2026 Met Gala just happened, and we have so much to unpack.
So for anyone who somehow didn't know, the Met Gala took place on May 4th, 2026 at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. The theme this year was costume art, inspired by the Costume Institute's spring exhibition, exploring the dressed body as a canvas across centuries of art history. The dress code was fashion is art, and the celebrities, they took that literally, and sometimes a little too literally.
The co-chairs this year were an absolute dream team. Beyoncé, Nicole Kidman, Venus Williams, and the undisputable queen of the guest list, Anna Wintour. Jeff Bezos and his wife Lauren Sanchez Bezos were the honorary chairs and lead sponsors, and that right there is where the controversy begins, but we'll get to that.
Oh, we will absolutely get to that. First, the moment the entire internet had been waiting for. Beyoncé walking the Met Gala red carpet after 10 years. A decade, Linda!
10 years! She co-chaired the event, which meant she finally had a reason to break her hiatus, and she did it in the most Beyoncé way possible. She came flanked by Jay-Z on one side and their 14-year-old daughter, Blue Ivy, on the other. Blue Ivy made her very first Met Gala appearance wearing a custom Balenciaga cream strapless gown. Organizers made a rare exception to the 18 and over rule just for her. And honestly, she looked like she had been walking this carpet her whole life.
The Carter family really said, "We are fashion." Similarly, Nicole Kidman brought her 17-year-old daughter, Sunday Rose, who wore a strapless pink Dior dress, for another beautiful mother-daughter debut moment. This was such a tender, generational through line for the night.
Now let's talk about the other legendary arrival, Rihanna, who, as per sacred tradition, closed out the entire red carpet. She and A$AP Rocky walked in last because that's just the law at this point. She wore this breathtaking draped metallic look from Maison Margiela by Glenn Martens. Futuristic, dramatic, effortless. Exactly what we expect from her.
And now, Linda, I need to talk about Sabrina Carpenter, because this woman had the night of her life, and I am not even being hyperbolic.
Oh, please, go off, because I've been thinking about it non-stop.
So she arrives on the red carpet in this custom Christian Dior gown made entirely of film strips from the 1954 Audrey Hepburn classic Sabrina, as in her own namesake film. The strips shimmer and move like a living reel of cinema on her body. She told Vogue on the carpet that film is her dream and that Dior's creative director, Jonathan Anderson, is a genius. And she is correct.
But here's the twist. That was just her first dress, because once she got inside the museum, Sabrina Carpenter performed a live set. She changed into a sequin number and took the stage alongside Stevie Nicks for a jaw-dropping duet of Fleetwood Mac's 1975 classic Landslide. Then Nicks also performed Gypsy, Edge of 17, and Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow. Then Sabrina changed again into a third dress and performed her own hits, House Tour, Espresso, and Please, Please, Please.
3 outfits, 1 night, 1 Stevie Nicks collab, multiple standing ovations. She is that girl right now, and there is no debate.
And here's the detail that sent the internet completely over the edge. Hugh Jackman, who was seated near Beyoncé, said in a later interview that he looked over during Sabrina's performance and saw Beyoncé crying, hitting Blue Ivy's arm in pure, overwhelmed emotion. Rihanna was reportedly in tears too. Social media absolutely lost its mind over this.
Beyoncé and Rihanna, 2 of the most iconic artists alive, weeping because of Sabrina Carpenter performing at a fashion gala. That is the 2026 cultural moment right there.
Okay, let's do a rapid fire of the wildest and most creative looks because people really went for it this year. Bad Bunny wore Zara, yes, the high street brand, but paired it with professional prosthetics that aged him approximately 53 years. He was nearly unrecognizable. It was unexpected, conceptual, and completely unhinged in the best way.
Katy Perry arrived in a white Stella McCartney gown, but her entire face was hidden behind a chrome space-age fencing mask. She eventually removed the front of it as she walked up the steps, a slow reveal that was very, very Perry.
Heidi Klum transformed herself using latex and spandex into a faded stone Grecian statue, inspired by classical works like Veiled Christ by San Martino. A supermodel making herself look ancient and crumbling is such a bold, brilliant move.
Irina Shayk's look stopped everyone in their tracks. Her outfit was constructed entirely out of jewelry. Watches used as armbands, necklaces, and rings in place of fabric, all designed by Alexander Wang. No actual cloth on the body, just precious metals.
Eileen Gu wore an Iris Van Herpen bubble dress that was literally producing bubbles from the fabric as she walked, actual floating soap bubbles coming off her gown. The intersection of engineering, science, and fashion, and it was stunning.
And then there's Margot Robbie, who wore what appeared to be a simple, elegant gold gown. But it was Chanel, and that simple dress took 761 hours to create before its debut. Over 700 hours! That's the definition of invisible craftsmanship, and it perfectly embodied the costume art theme.
Madonna came in Saint Laurent by Anthony Vaccarello, wearing a pirate ship hat, carrying a brass trumpet, and was flanked by 7 women in sheer blindfolds who helped display her look. She was channeling surrealist artist Leonora Carrington's The Temptation of Saint Anthony. Triathrical, maximalist, completely on theme, and completely Madonna.
Blake Lively made her return to the Met Gala for the first time since 2022, and she arrived mere hours after news broke that her explosive legal dispute with director Justin Baldoni, stemming from the film It Ends With Us, had been settled. She wore archival Atelier Versace, with the house adding a long, dramatic watercolor train for the occasion. And she carried a Judith Lieber bejeweled bag that her 4 children had painted artwork on themselves, all while Ryan Reynolds stayed home.
And Hugh Jackman, who debuted as a couple with Sutton Foster, actually stepped in to help Blake avoid a wardrobe mishap during the evening. He said he texted Ryan Reynolds first to make sure it was okay before he helped. The detail, the chivalry. Twitter had a fayday.
Now we have to talk about the controversy, because this gala wasn't without its drama off the carpet. Jeff Bezos, the second richest person in the world, and Lauren Sanchez Bezos were honorary co-chairs, with Amazon as the lead sponsor, and a significant portion of social media was not happy about it.
Protesters gathered outside the museum with activist group Everyone Hates Elon organizing a boycott campaign. Fake urine samples were placed around New York as a nod to reported Amazon driver working conditions, and posters calling for a Bezos boycott were plastered around the city. Even Meryl Streep notably skipped the event, reportedly in protest of his involvement.
Bezos himself didn't walk the red carpet. He slipped in through the back entrance to avoid facing the protesters. Meanwhile, one eyewitness told Naughty But Nice that inside the room, Lauren Sanchez had essentially become the gravitational center of the evening, with guests chasing her presence rather than Anna Wintour's approval. The buying their way into culture criticism was everywhere online.
And then there was Bavitha Mandava, a model who showed up in what appeared to be a white tank top, faded jeans, and a sheer zip-up. On any other day, it's Casual Monday. On the Met Gala steps, the internet erupted. Some called it genius, a direct commentary on fashion's pretension. Others felt it was genuinely underwhelming. Either way, it dominated discourse on Reddit and X for 48 hours straight.
Also, notable no-shows. Zendaya skipped this year, which fans were very vocal about. Timothée Chalamet also didn't appear, and there was a brief security scare when someone tried to storm the red carpet, but police stepped in immediately and no one was harmed.
Okay, let's talk about the inside because the dinner was equally chaotic in the best way. Lena Dunham dressed as the blood spatter from the Baroque painting Judith Slaying Holofernes. Angela Bassett's look was inspired by a 1927 Harlem Renaissance painting. Lauren Sanchez's Schiaparelli dress channeled John Singer Sargent's Madame X. People really did their art history homework this year.
Inside the museum, guests including Cher, Coleman Domingo, Greta Gerwig, Emily Blunt, and Carey Mulligan mingled over gourmet food, toured the costume art exhibition, and danced to Sabrina's set. Aja Wilson, Rose, Lisa, Zoe Kravitz, Lily Rose Depp, and Gracie Abrams were all photographed together inside. The girlies ate.
The 2026 Met Gala was messy, political, joyful, tearful, artistic, and totally unhinged, and we wouldn't have it any other way. From Beyoncé's decade-long return to Bad Bunny and Zara, from Sabrina making Rihanna cry, to Margot in 761 hours of invisible stitching, this was a night that will live in the fashion history books.
Absolutely. And remember, next year, the bar has been set very high. We'll be covering every detail right here on Runway Talk. If you loved today's episode, smash that subscribe button, drop a comment telling us your best and worst dressed, and share this with someone who thinks fashion isn't art.
Spoiler? It is. It really, really is. See you next week. Stay fierce, stay fabulous.
Bye!